Hello and welcome to the episode number 1 of Geeks Drop the Gauntlet. My name is J-Rad.
And I'm Tickles.
And today's episode is all about debating and discussing our favorite heroes and villains as they face off in the ultimate bracket challenge to see who will reign supreme as the coolest nerdy pop culture icon known to mankind, or just to us. But we're going to buckle up, we're going to strap on to prepare for the ride of our lives, you included.
If you direct your attention to this board we have set up behind us, we have 32 characters from Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, and video games that have been fed into a random placement generator. And this is created... Did you say strap on?
Yeah, I did.
All right. This has created the ultimate battle bracket. Let's kick things off with number 1.
All right. Well, as you can see, number 1 is a big one. Darth Vader versus Batman. Your thoughts? Who wins?
All right. So I took a few things into perspective.
Okay.
Powers.
Okay.
Coolness. And their cultural impact. And I weighted them however I wanted to.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily the powers, but one might be something that tips it over for that particular battle.
Okay.
I'm leaning into Vader. If you watch the Superpowers beatdown, that is an amazing video, by the way.
It's true.
With excellent production quality. Vader wins that fight.
Okay. So
I'm not going to say it's easy.
You're leaning Vader.
Yes, because Batman put a hurt on somebody that, on paper, is much more powerful than him.
Okay. All right. I see you. I hear you. I disagree with you. I'm going Batman. Darth Vader, clearly, as most people will know, is one of the most iconic villains known to mankind. That's clear. We all know that. But if I had to pick one, Batman's my favorite DC character of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if we're talking sheer, popularity, they might be on the same level. Powers? Okay, I'll give that to you. Darth Vader. I'll give you, he might win that. Prep time, Batman wins. But anyways, no, just overall, if I have to weigh everything like you said, everything, including my own bias, obviously, I'm going to have to lean Batman. So we might have to come back to this one.
You are leaning into Batman's greatest weapon, which is plot armor.
You win with what you got.
We're coming back to
that one. All right, Let's move on to number 2. And this is Thor versus Wolverine. Let's see if we can finally pick one to move on, right? Yeah, we've only done one. We should have already had that. So Thor versus Wolverine. What do you think?
Coolness factor, they're the same. Cultural impact, again, because of the MCU, I think they're probably pretty similar. Especially since Thor is a Norse god and not even American. So, powers, Thor lays waste to that little adamantium screwball. So, I'm saying Thor.
Okay. Before I answer, I got to ask one quick question. Hugh Jackman or Chris Hemsworth?
Ooh, they're both pretty dreamy.
I knew this would be a good one.
I'd say Chris Hemsworth.
Okay. All right. I'm going to agree with you on the overall. I think Thor wins this. Wolverine, this was a tough one too. Wolverine's one of my favorite X-Men. But I think overall, in terms of, honestly, what the MCU brought, let's not think about Thor 4. But what the MCU brought Thor to the forefront. Some of his movies were real iffy. The Avengers, I thought he was good in some of them. I just think overall, I think he should move on in this fight.
Agreed.
All right, so we've got Thor moving on.
We'll agree to agree.
Okay. We got Thor moving on, which is good. We can agree on something. Moving on, we've got Voldemort versus Spider-Man. If you want to write that in there, we've got Wolverine. I'll start off on Voldemort versus Spider-Man. So coming at you with a not so big Harry Potter fan right here. It's not that I dislike it. I just am not a huge fan of the universe. I feel like the Marvel universe is just, in my opinion, better overall, whether it's comics, whether it's media on TV, whether any of that. I just think the Marvel media is better. I might get torn up for this by the Harry Potter fans, but personally, and this is another bias, I grew up on Spider-Man, reading his comics. Like, he is the best Marvel hero to me. So in this fight, Voldemort, awesome bad guy, badass. I've seen him in the movies. But like, Spider-Man to me is the winner.
I think that if you put Voldemort with all of his power against Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man is going to punch him so hard he will wish that all of his Horcruxes were gone.
If we're talking powers, I forget about that sometimes. We're also talking powers. What is Voldemort gonna do? He's gonna dodge every Avada Kedavra because we saw in the movies they're kind of slow.
Yeah.
He's dodging.
I think
everything.
They slowed it down for that.
Okay.
Effect.
I haven't read the books, fellas. So and Geekettes, I have not read the book, so I don't know. But Spider-Man, in my opinion, would mop the floor with Voldemort.
Yep, I agree.
Spider-Man, it is. Let's move him on. Next on the list, we have Boba Fett versus Flash. I thought this one was a really good one because I am not super familiar with Flash. In terms of the DC, I'm very well aware of him. I've read comics where he's in the Justice League, but solo, I've not read too many solo Flash comics. In the movies, do we even want to talk about him in the movies? Ezra Miller?
No.
Okay. Then in this fight, for me personally, even though Boba Fett also hasn't had too much in the movies, while he did have his own show, I'm going to have to lean Boba Fett for sheer coolness factor because a Mandalorian like Boba Fett, seeing him in the theaters, well, actually, I don't think I saw him in the theater.
Bro.
Seeing him on the TV screen for the first time with that iconic Mandalorian helmet, I was like, who is that? I want to know who that is because he looks badass. So I am going to lean Boba.
I knew you were going to do that.
You're going to go Flash.
I think that Flash would utterly annihilate Boba Fett.
Again, powers-wise. I agree.
And I do think that Boba Fett is a very cool character until his own TV series. And now I think that Boba Fett is just an old man who needs to soak in a spa every single night to recuperate his powers.
That's true.
That series wasn't good until Mando got into it.
I'll give you that for sure.
So I feel like Flash, as far as the coolness factor, I'm going to lean into him a little bit. Plus, his scene at the end of
Zack Snyder's Justice League
was amazing.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, he was pretty badass.
I have a trivia question for you regarding Boba Fett.
Okay.
By year, what is the first movie that mentions Boba Fett by name?
By year?
By year.
I don't know. He wasn't mentioned in Empire Strikes Back, I don't think, by name.
He was not.
So I'm not sure. What is it?
E.T.
No way. Really?
E.T. is the first movie that mentions Boba Fett by name.
That's a good trivia question, everybody. Remember that one. That's a great answer.
Because you didn't answer that, Flash wins.
Alright, I'll give it to you.
I will concede a little on our earlier battle.
Okay. Alright, so maybe I'll get in there. Alright.
We'll see.
This one, I want you to kick this one off because this is Superman versus Deadpool. And clearly, as you can say with the Vader Batman, you can see what I'm wearing. So, lead us.
Superman annihilates Deadpool.
I agree.
He's been around decades longer than Deadpool. I love Deadpool. I thought Ryan Reynolds did a fantastic job as Deadpool, and he continues to do a fantastic job as Deadpool. But Superman throws him into the sun, and that's that.
Well, again, powers-wise, 100% agree. I will say on the iconic level, I think Deadpool jumped. When Ryan Reynolds took over, yes. I think he just jumped, over a multitude of characters because of how good Ryan Reynolds' portrayal of Deadpool was. That being said, I will also agree. The Man of Steel wins this one. Plus, big fan of Henry Cavill, so.
Same.
All right, next one is actually the only one that is going to be, I think...
a villain battle.
A villain battle. No, it's not a villain battle, but it's in the same universe, directly same universe. We might have a couple that are in the same universe, but this might be the first one. So we have Darth Maul versus Luke Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good one. Go ahead. Let's see what you think.
Whew. Okay. So, In the Clone Wars cartoons, Ahsoka beat Darth Maul in a fair fight. Ahsoka is Anakin's apprentice, and I would say that she is a good representation of Anakin's training. So, by a transitive property, I would say that Anakin could most likely beat Darth Maul in a fight. Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and Luke beat Darth Vader. So I would say that Luke would probably win that fight. It's not easy.
Your reasoning's pretty sound.
It is.
I'll give you that. It is sound. And I like how you go the powers route, because I tend to not think about powers. I'm thinking about, like, what do they represent, popularity, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad you're bringing up all the powers. That being said, I personally, again, attack me, I think Darth Maul is way cooler than Luke Skywalker.
I will agree.
A cooler villain. He just, when you saw him on screen for the first time, you're
Yes.
like, whoa.
It was impactful.
It was impactful.
So, and then when you saw Luke get the reveal on who his dad was, that was very unimpactful.
Yeah!
It was cool what Vader said, but the whining was a little bit much.
Yeah, that was a little much. But overall, I will agree with you. I think Luke wins the fight straight up. I think overall, Luke has probably done more for Star Wars than Maul has.
I would love to see this fight, though.
I would actually love to see this fight as well.
All right.
So let's move on with Luke Skywalker. Now the next one is a villain battle: Joker versus Magneto. I'm going to let me get this out of the way because I know you're going to go the powers route. Yes, Joker would be a puddle on the floor within milliseconds. Magneto is an Omega level mutant. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I 100% agree that Magneto is the clear choice when it comes to powers. Now, overall, their icon status, one of the greatest villains, of all time. I think Magneto is a great villain, but Joker, again, being a Batman fan, reading quite a bit of Batman comics, man, like, it's almost, I'd say there is no other villain that can be an opposite to Batman like Joker is. Like, their personalities, the way they think, everything is just polar opposites that makes them so perfect as a bad guy versus a good guy. And in that route, in that path, I guess, I would take Joker over Magneto just because of that dynamic between one of the greatest heroes. Gotta have a great villain. They succeeded, in my opinion. Plus, Mark Hamill, amazing voice. Amazing voice.
So, I'm gonna come off hating on Batman big time. I love the Joker as a character, and I think that Heath Ledger's portrayal of him was legendary. I love the line about some people want to watch the world burn; they can't be reasoned with. That stuff. I think that creates a perfect contrast to the cerebral Batman with a sense of justice. But Joker is a human, and I feel that he should have been held accountable for the deaths of thousands of people at this point. I don't think putting him in Arkham, knowing that he is probably going to get away for the 100th time, has been effective, and I think a city would realize this and basically put him to death immediately upon his next arrest. I also feel like he's put himself in situations that would definitely have killed him. And I know that there's an explanation about some meteor or something that he might be immortal. So I don't even know if that's canon, but I don't know. I have a problem with him continuing to return, although Batman can't definitively kill him. They are opposite sides of the same coin.
Right.
Magneto is a bad guy who can carry a movie. His powers are extreme. He is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. He is one of the most powerful mutants in the Marvel Universe. And I think that his whole backstory is interesting. However, we're getting to a point where there's really no logical explanation of him still being alive, even though he was 8 years old in a concentration camp in the 1940s.
That always got me.
He's going to be like 90 at this point. So unless his mutant power is like Wolverine and he doesn't age very quickly. So Magneto's origin might need to be adjusted slightly, but I think that kind of affects the impact that he has. I chose Magneto to win this fight. However, I am going to flip-flop
Really?
and also say Joker, based on Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill's performance of him.
Would you reconsider taking Magneto if we took Batman over Vader? Being that I conceded on the Flash and Boba as well.
Yes, I will concede that. If we move Magneto on, I will give you Batman. So I'm not a total Batman hater.
I want him over. All right, we got Batman moving on then, and then that means Joker takes the L. You're gonna put an asterisk? All right. So Magneto moves on then. We agreed. Next on the list.
Kind of hurt.
I'm glad. No. Next on the list is well, for me this was an easy one. Darkseid versus Link. Not a huge Zelda fan personally, and I just haven't played too many of the games. Darkseid, I think, is an awesome villain. I won't spend too much time on this. Powers-wise, we know what's going to happen. Icon-wise, gaming versus movies on screen, I'm going Darkseid.
Link is Dust.
Darkseid Snap. Oh wait, that's the other one.
No.
All right. So let's move on to the opposite side of the board here. We have Bellatrix, Harry Potter.
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Harry Potter world versus Green Lantern. Now, for this one, we didn't write this in here, but Green Lantern will be the Hal Jordan version. Bellatrix, Hal Jordan.
I picked Green Lantern. I think that his shield and is enough to keep Avada Kedavra from killing him, and I think he swats her with a big giant hand. Or with a big giant hand, though.
I'm not going to say anything because I agree. GL moves on. All right, so we've got Mario versus Dumbledore.
Man, this side of the bracket's going to be
this
easy.
This might be pretty easy. So Mario versus Dumbledore. The funny part is Mario, I would say I grew up playing his games, but I didn't. I actually grew up playing Sonic. So Mario versus Dumbledore, I'm going Dumbledore. I think powers-wise, unless he's got like mushrooms lined up for days and he becomes super hulky and strong, I still think Dumbledore hands him his ass.
I too believe that Dumbledore would win. However, what if Mario was super big, he had his bigging mushroom, and the fireball?
Oh, Dumbledore still. All right, so we've got Dumbledore. Now, this one's actually going to hurt a bit. Sonic versus Harry Potter. Literally straight up Harry Potter versus Sonic. I just said I grew up playing Sonic, so I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Harry Potter is a human. He does have magic, but Sonic is freaking fast. He is fast as hell. And if we're talking powers now, because now you got me thinking on the powers route, I think Sonic beats Harry Potter in a powers face-off. Status, how popular, all this other kind of stuff. Sonic's actually just recently got a couple good movies. Well, they honestly were pretty good in my opinion. They were decent. Are they better than Harry Potter? Probably not, but I honestly, personally, again, I told you in the beginning, not a huge Harry Potter fan, so I'm going to lean Sonic. I grew up with him playing his games. I think he actually wins in the powers aspect as well. What do you think?
I love Harry Potter. I love the movies and the books and everything. I do think that Sonic would probably win unless he was hit with that freeze spell.
Oh, true.
And I don't know if Harry Potter can react that quickly. So I too chose Sonic.
And we didn't even bring in Super Sonic when he's got all the emeralds.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, Sonic wins. All right, moving on. This one's tough. We've got Wonder Woman versus Thy Hulk. Who wins? You know what? I'm going to let you take this one. Kick it off.
Okay, so the Hulk has nearly unmatched strength in the Marvel Universe. In fact, I think I heard somewhere that Stan Lee said that the Hulk is meant to be the strongest character in the Marvel Universe.
Actually, yes, I heard that.
And Wonder Woman is not on that level. I think Superman could hold off the Hulk, and I think he has a couple of times in comics.
Crossovers, yeah.
But I don't know if Wonder Woman could do that. That being said, I have seen comics where Wonder Woman has beaten Superman as well, or at least subdued him, but at great cost to herself. And I think she took advantage of Superman's vulnerability to magic. Hulk, I believe, is also vulnerable to like a magic weapon, but he will heal very quickly. I have a massive crush on Linda Carter, and I have since I was probably 4 years old. So
biased.
I'm going Wonder Woman.
Okay, you know what? I actually didn't expect that. I thought you were going to go Hulk. So in this, we are in agreement. I don't have to say too much. I'm not a huge fan of the Hulk in comics. Just an idea of a roided out person when he gets angry, gets all super strong, just doesn't.
He's really fun in the Marvel game, though.
Well, agreed. I will agree with you there. But overall, I just think Wonder Woman takes it in terms of awesomeness, cool factor. You know, powers-wise, you're right. Probably not. She's not going to take it. But everything else, I think she supersedes the Hulk. Plus, you're a fan of Linda Carter. I'm a fan of Gal Gadot. So let's go. Wonder Woman.
Just spelled WW.
You know me. All right, here's another Harry Potter world. We've got Dobby versus Iron Man. Who wins and why?
Iron Man. I hate Dobby. We're getting canceled, but I don't like Dobby. His voice annoys me.
Let the record show that when Dobby died, that's not spoilers, been out long enough, I was a little sad.
I was sad as well.
When Iron Man died, I cried.
Yeah, I snotted myself. I was crying so bad.
Next, we've got another Harry Potter world. Has Harry Potter world won one of these? I don't think they have. Anyways.
Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah, Dumbledore wins. That's right. All right. Well, anyways, next one we've got Snape versus Shazam, better known as Shazam. And this one actually is going to be interesting because we just literally walked out of the movie a few days ago. The new was a Fury of the Gods. So. Yeah. Personally, Snape versus Shazam, I think Snape was one of the cooler characters in Harry Potter. I actually liked Snape a lot, especially with the whole reveal at the end of it, you know, what he went through, all this kind of stuff. I thought that was really cool. Shazam, I actually like as a character too. I like the idea of a kid having godlike powers, I think is really cool. Powers-wise, again, I'm going Shazam. He's got the powers of literal gods. You know, is he on Superman's level? Not quite, but I mean, even if you say not quite, that means you're on a hell of a level. So powers-wise, he wipes Snape, I mean, in an instant, you know, he just lightning bolt, it's over. But that being said, and Snape being cool, I'm going to have to lean still Shazam.
Okay, so I love Shazam. I love the basis in mythology. I love his power set. He was created to be Good Times Comics answer to Superman, and I believe that got them in a lot of trouble, so DC ended up inheriting Shazam. So I like Superman's power set. Honestly, I'm gonna like Shazam. I have always liked Shazam, and I thought that the Fury of the Gods was entertaining, whether or not it was a Rotten Tomato or a Fresh or whatever. I found it to be entertaining. I laughed at parts, and there were parts that were like heavy. And then Snape is the best character in all of Harry Potter. And I found his loyalty to be admirable. I thought that even though he was a bully to the big three in Harry Potter, there was a scene in Prisoner of Azkaban where he did not have his wand, and the werewolf was about to attack the kids, and he put himself in between the kids and the werewolf without a wand, which I thought was extraordinarily heroic.
Great.
And I thought that his playing the evil against the good, and how he was kind of a spy for the Death Eaters was outstanding. I can't, in good conscience, put a hero at the level of Snape over Shazam, or put him behind Shazam. So I pick Snape.
Your words have swayed me. Snape it is. because I do agree that he is the best character in Harry Potter. All right, moving on. We've got Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Kratos. Who wins?
Kratos, honestly, is, I think, the video game's strongest entry in this entire fight.
I agree.
And he slays gods to just advance his own story. They're just in the way. And, but, I mean, Daddy Wan Kenobi is slaying the Sith is his speciality. And he did an awesome job of it in his show. And he has been awesome through the Clone Wars and all of the prequel trilogies. And even though he was a dirty liar and a scoundrel in the original trilogy, he was one of my favorite characters. And unfortunately, I know that Kratos would probably turn Obi-Wan into a puddle, but I think Obi-Wan's coolness and cultural impact are better.
I agree with everything you said. And it hurts because I absolutely adore the God of War games. If you haven't played like the last one, in my opinion, it's a 10 out of 10. One of the best games ever made. That being said, I agree. I can't in good conscience put Kratos over Obi-Wan. He's I almost want to say he's my favorite Star Wars character.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't do it. Obi-Wan wins. All right, so moving on, we have, to round out the top 32 fighting each other here, the top 16 battles, we've got Rey versus Captain America. Rey wins.
We can just put Rey at the middle.
Yeah, Rey wins this whole book side of the board. I mean, I'm pretty sure anything that comes up, she accomplishes.
Powers wise, I would have liked to have seen Rey with a little bit of struggle in the movie.
No.
I think that would have rounded out her character to know that she actually had to overcome something, which she never did. But
how do you relate to that? I've never had to overcome anything.
It's difficult to relate to it.
It always comes to me.
And I have found other fantastic characters in the Star Wars universe that I love, who are women. But Rey, I couldn't relate to her. Powers-wise, she would destroy Captain America, but I mean, Cap's impact has been in place for 80 years.
Yes.
And I think that the role that he played in the MCU was amazing.
I'm sorry, Rey, but Cap America moves on. Plus, I mean, come on. It's America's ass.
True.
All right, so we have finished our first 16, which were rough. We're very rough. So let's move on, and let's actually start hitting this pretty hard. I know time frame wise, we've had some really good battles.
Yeah.
So let's move on and let's hit our number one in the top left: Batman vs. Thor. I know where I'm going with this, and this is actually kind of really funny. Batman and Thor. Besides Spider-Man, Thor's probably one of my favorite Marvel characters. And then you've got Batman, who is my favorite DC character. In this fight right here, powers-wise, yes, it's no contest. I understand. I'm still leaning Batman. I think, is the more popular character. I think what he represents and all of what he's done, even like if you think about the Justice League, everyone else has powers. He's the only human, and he's probably the most popular. That goes a lot to show, like, what people really like is, in my opinion, what really drew me to Batman was that you're a human. He's a human, and a lot of times messing around in otherworldly beings and all this kind of stuff, yet somehow he comes out on top. I'm leaning Batman.
Unfortunately, I am also leaning towards Batman. I think Thor, powers-wise, would turn Batman into a puddle. I don't think Batman has a chance in hell against Thor, like no matter what, even with preparation. Because Thor is a bit of a dolt, but there's nothing that Batman can do to Thor, powers-wise. But coolness and cultural impact, I give to Batman.
Okay, Bat's next. I'll let you write that down. While I start the next one, we've got Spider-Man versus The Flash. Now, this is actually a fun one because I think powers-wise, personally, The Flash would win based on the sheer fact that while Spider-Man is fast, extremely fast, The Flash is unfathomably fast. Is that a word? Mm-hmm. So, in my personal opinion, Flash would take this powers-wise. Again, biased as hell, grew up reading Spider-Man. I think he's the more popular. I think he's the more well-established character. whether that be in comics or even movies, really, especially in movies, to be honest. But so overall, my take will be Spider-Man wins, not on powers alone, but on overall popularity, what he represents, etc.
I also lean into Spider-Man for the coolness and cultural impact. I don't know if Spider-Man could beat Flash because I feel like if he were to create a trap, webbing and stuff like that, because the DC movie Flash Barry is an idiot.
That's true.
So if
Tricks
Spider-Man were to web him
everywhere.
up, it's over. Because again, Flash isn't particularly strong.
Yep.
So Spider-Man could punch his head off. So I would lean into Spider-Man.
Okay, Spidey wins. 2 in a row, guys? All right, let's see if we can keep this going. So next on the list, we have Superman versus Luke Skywalker. I'm going to make this short and sweet. Luke's awesome. Star Wars cool. Very cool. Superman. I actually agree. It's Superman for me.
I say Superman as well.
Sorry, Luke. This hurts. Sorry, Luke.
It does. I think if Luke was on that side, he would have made it much further.
I agree. All right, next on the list, we've got Magneto and Darkseid fighting. Now, another villain, which was surprising. I wasn't anticipating another villain clash. But you've got an Omega level mutant in Magneto versus Darkseid, essentially a god. I think Darkseid takes it in powers overall. He is a new god. He is extremely powerful in the comics. I don't think they really showcased it much in the movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think that's the only movie, right? Live action that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they showcased him much, but he is on the level, in fact, over the level of Magneto, in my opinion. Magneto would be like a world threat, like an Earth threat, and I think Darkseid's a universal threat. Therefore, power-wise, I would lean Darkseid. Coolness factor, I don't know enough about Darkseid to put him over Magneto. I've read quite a few X-Men comics. I like Magneto. I think villain-wise, he is pretty awesome and set up as a character already. He has a lot of attention around him in terms of what I've read. So personally, I'm going to lean Magneto.
Yeah, so I recently saw a video where if Magneto was in the final fight on Endgame, what would have happened to Thanos? And basically, Magneto picked Thanos up and crushed him in his own armor, much like Scarlet Witch was in the process of doing. And then Magneto crushed the ship that was raining down fire, which he is capable of doing. I think Magneto is actually capable of stopping Darkseid. Darkseid and Thanos are kind of on the same power level. And the Omega beams from Darkseid are a problem, but I think Magneto could also put a very thick piece of metal over his eyes and bond it to his head. So I also said Magneto.
Okay. It's funny how your whole argument there, I thought you were going Magneto. I don't know what I'm saying. So let's move on. that one stumbled me. So we've got Green Lantern versus Dumbledore. What do you think?
I actually leaned into Dumbledore on this one.
Okay.
I think that he could overwhelm Green Lantern's ring. And I think as soon as Dumbledore saw that was a source of his power, he would probably remove it.
I haven't seen
Accio ring. Boom. Over.
I haven't seen though enough to warrant Dumbledore beating Green Lantern. I've seen quite a bit. I've read comics, but I've also seen him on, whether it be animated movies or whatnot. I don't know what Dumbledore. Yeah, Accio ring, but okay, I guess. But you've got a character who can fly, who has super strength, who can emit beams, who can fire, who could do an Omni Blast if he really chose to. Plus, you're up against the best known Green Lantern in Hal Jordan. His will power, nobody can even touch it. So is he the strongest Green Lantern? Most likely, yes. Him against a human with a wand who is trying to say Accio, and he goes, boom. I'm leaning Green Lantern.
I think powers-wise, Green Lantern would win. But I can't see a character on Green Lantern's level overcoming the most powerful wizard in Harry Potter. So the cultural impact of Dumbledore is greater. The coolness factor of Dumbledore is probably a little greater, given that he is the most powerful wizard in Harry Potter's universe. But powers-wise, I'm leaning on Green Lantern.
One of the most powerful weapons in all of the universe? Just sitting on your
Dumbledore.
finger?
Yeah, Accio ring.
He's
It's
like
over. Then
350
Dumbledore
years
has
old.
that ring. And
You know what's
the
funny to
wand.
think about, though? So he's this powerful wizard. That's cool and all. I want to see him walk up some stairs without breathing
All right,
heavily,
so
without his knees cracking, without everything. It just doesn't work for me.
If we took
And I'm not
Green
saying old people are
Lantern's
bad or anything.
ring
Just saying
and
coolness factor.
Dumbledore's wand, who's winning?
Just the weapons?
We take Green Lantern's ring and Dumbledore's wand.
It hasn't shown me enough, the wand, of what it can do. We have spells that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
What else can it do? You know, I don't know. He waved up some fire, but the lantern ring can literally conjure in hard light anything that you can imagine. And that's why, honestly, I don't know if you know.
Continuously imagined big baseball gloves.
Yeah, well, that's
big
how
baseball
Jordan's
bats.
Okay, let's bring up Kyle Rayner. He was an artist.
He had Max.
He had awesome.
You said it was Hal Jordan.
Okay, I agree. But you're going back to coolness factor
We may
of
have
what?
to flip a coin on this.
All right, let's move on. We're gonna come back to that one. We've got Sonic versus Wonder Woman. Who wins?
Linda Carter.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Wonder Woman. Then I'll say Gal Gadot. Iron Man versus Snape. Who wins?
I love Snape, but Iron Man killed himself to save the universe. So even Snape's impact in the movies isn't good enough for that. So I go Iron Man.
Plus, I love RDJ.
Yeah.
Iron Man wins. I am. We'll put a slash so it's not I'm.
9.
I'm. All right, we've got Obi-Wan versus Captain America. Who wins? Now, actually, I thinking about it right now, I think that would actually be a fun fight to watch.
That would be cool.
That would be a fun fight to watch. The Force and Obi-Wan versus Captain America. Adamantium shield. Could a lightsaber cut through the shield?
I don't think it could.
There's the question. Age-old question. Would a lightsaber cut through adamantium or vibranium? Apologies. I believe it's made out of vibranium.
Vibranium.
Not
well,
adamantium.
in the comics, I think it's a vibranium.
It's a mixture.
Adamantium
Yeah,
alloy.
it's a mixture. But point is, would a lightsaber cut through it? Who knows? So now we've got to bring it down to coolness factor. Who's cooler? I'm leaning Obi.
Daddy One Kenobi.
All right, let's go Obi. So we've got Obi-Wan. We have to finish on the top one, Green Lantern Dumbledore. We agreed, unfortunately, on everything else, so we can't even concede a battle and win another one.
All right, I will concede Dumbledore and give you Green Lantern, but I know that there's going to be another battle coming up.
You're going to take Batman out of this. I know you are. Okay. I'll agree with you there. Because Green Lantern, in my opinion, is better than Dumbledore. All right. So, oh, Jesus. You can announce the next one. I don't even want to. I don't even want to.
Spider-Man versus Batman. The big argument here is that Batman can beat anybody with any amount of preparation. Plus, he has the best plot armor ever in comics. But he's also a human. Spider-Man is remarkably fast. And something that Batman can never prepare for is Spider-Man's Spidey sense. And I don't think Batman, no matter what he watches, would know that Spider-Man has a Spidey sense.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's Spidey sense is the difference in that fight. I give it to Spider-Man.
Powers-wise.
Spider-Man.
Powers-wise. No. I will agree that I think if they were to straight up fight, I do believe that Spider-Man would win. In fact, if you really think about it, Batman could land. I mean, I know he knows, special techniques and stuff to hit nerves and all this kind of stuff. But my point is Spider-Man needs one punch.
Yeah.
And I don't care if he's wearing any armor, unless he's maybe wearing the armor he took Superman on with. But if he's wearing his normal suit, one punch, he's breaking all his bones. Like, I mean, it's. I get it. Batman, Spider-Man, my two favorite characters in both universes. That's so hard. So you know what? I will say, being that you conceded on the Green Lantern fight, go ahead and write Spider-Man in there. I'm not happy about it.
Plus, their coolness and cultural impact is probably pretty even.
I agree. So I conceded Spidey. That's good. Let's move on. We've got Superman versus Magneto. In my opinion, I'll start this one real quick because to me it's an easy one. Magneto's very cool. I will still lean Superman over Magneto. I think powers-wise, I think Superman still wins. And just overall, I think he's a slightly cooler character.
Yeah, well, Superman's been around a lot longer.
Agreed. Soups for the win. All right, moving on. We've got Green Lantern versus Wonder Woman. This one's, in my opinion, is kind of tough, but not as tough as I originally thought. When I first wrote Green Lantern right up there and I looked at Wonder Woman, I was like, that's really hard. And now that I thought about it a little bit moving on, I'm leaning Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter wins.
She can't win everything just because you're crush on her.
Yes, she can.
So next we have Obi-Wan versus Iron Man. This is going to be a good one again because Obi-Wan's my favorite character in Star Wars. Yeah, I'm going to say it. And you've got Iron Man, who isn't my favorite character in Marvel. So I've got a favorite character versus a non-favorite character. Not saying that Iron Man's bad. I'm just saying I'm personally leaning Obi-Wan because, in my opinion, the prequels were... I grew up with them, so I liked them, but they're He made it. I think Ewan McGregor made the prequels into something that you can actually sit through and be like, I enjoyed that. Especially him and Hayden Christensen's fight in episode 3 was amazing. I'm leaning Obi-Wan just because of, while Iron Man is awesome, RDJ is awesome, when I was a kid, going to the theater, watching Star Wars, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan portrayal was amazing to me, and I loved him. So I'm leaning Obi.
Man, this was kind of a tough one for me because I picked Iron Man over Snape, so you'd expect it like Iron Man would go the distance, but he can't. Like Obi-Wan is just so cool.
We agree.
I give that one to Obi-Wan.
We agree. Obi's moving on.
All right, here we go. We're down to the end.
Top 4. We've got Spider-Man versus Superman. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, these are your 2 favorite characters?
Yes.
Who wins then? I'm going to let you start this one off because they're 2 favorite characters for you.
Coolness and cultural impact. I know that I am not going to be in the majority with this one. I think Superman is super cool. A lot of people characterize him as a big blue Boy Scout from the 1960s, 70s, and they cannot shed that. Which also, right, it also carried over into the 80s and everything. They have met several times in crossovers, and Spider-Man is more in awe of Superman, and I think that Spider-Man's youth and tendency to fanboy kind of trips him up in this a little bit. Obviously, Superman is extremely more powerful.
Agreed.
I lean on Superman on this one.
Okay.
Plus, Henry Cavill is just a badass.
He is. This was extremely close for me too. But for me personally, and this is where I drew the line in my head right now, really, was personally, I can't relate to Superman at all. He is an alien with extreme powers that I'll never fathom. Yeah, he works at a newspaper joint, but
I concede that.
But in reality, who I can relate to is Spider-Man. Struggling like a mofo to pay his rent because he doesn't have Daddy Wayne paying for all his shit. But you know what I mean? He's a teenager. He gets into college. He can't pay his rent. He's trying to figure out how to be a superhero as well as just being a regular human. Girl problems, these problems, those problems. Reading a comic, Ultimate Spider-Man, one of my favorite Spider-Man comics by Brian Michael Bendis. There's so many things in there. I was like, oh man, I can relate to that. Oh yeah, I remember going through that. You know, when he's going through high school and going through all these issues, that to me was the line, and that pushed Spider-Man over the line for me.
See, Spider-Man and Superman have basically the same job, but Superman can pay his rent somehow, and Spider-Man can't. So yeah, but let me ask you this. If a genie gives you one wish that you can wish for the same powers as any character in comic books, who do you say?
I would lean Superman on that. I mean, because he has everything known to man, power-wise, that you could want. And if you were talking about this, hypothetically, kryptonite doesn't exist, so if I were to get Superman's powers, you're unstoppable.
Truth. And would you use it for good, or would you rob a bank?
But again, for me, and I'll hold it onto this, is that just I can relate to Spider-Man more, and personally, reading more of his comics, maybe I'm biased, I would lean Spider-Man personally. So if you're going to lean Superman, Let's see what happens. We've got Wonder Woman versus Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Do we have a clear winner?
Yeah.
Okay, who is it?
I'm sorry, Linda Carter. I picked Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Damn, I was hoping we would have another one where we could flippity flop, but I also am leaning Obi-Wan Kenobi because while Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot are awesome, powers wise, she may win this. You know what I mean? Type deal. Let's not even go down that rabbit hole. Point is, Obi-Wan I think is the overall cooler character. Pretty much carried a trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean Obi-Wan on that too. Obi. Spidey soups. I'll give you Superman on one stipulation here.
Oh no. His powers are not the factor for the final battle.
Okay. All right, then I'll do that.
All right.
Superman. So we have come to. This all has culminated in Star Wars versus DC, Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Superman. I'm disappointed with some on this left-hand side of the board, I won't lie to you. But Superman versus Obi-Wan, if I had to pick, again, this is a growing up, that's going to factor in, I think, to anything that I'm talking about here because it's biased if I read the comics growing up, if I watched the movies growing up. And I remember, stepping into The Phantom Menace as a kid and being like, oh man, Obi-Wan's awesome. That's really cool, blah, blah, that watched all the trilogy. Obi-Wan was awesome. Superman, I don't believe I had a first impact until I think I read some comics when I was a little bit older as a teenager. And then movie-wise, I think the real first, whoa, was actually Man of Steel for me personally. I didn't like the 2006 with Brandon Routh. Ralph, I don't know his name. I didn't really get into it too much. And at that time, I won't lie, I was kind of a hater. I did not like Superman. I did not like the idea that a rock would hurt him and that was it, but he was invulnerable to everything else. I just thought Batman was way cooler. That being said, I think Henry Cavill kind of rotated that for me. I loved Man of Steel. I loved what he did with that, Zack Snyder did with that. Big fan of Superman now, actually am. That all being said, I would have to lean Obi-Wan because of what he did for my childhood. I loved Obi-Wan's portrayal from Ewan McGregor.
Okay, so I can't bring up Soup's powers for this discussion. So I will say that there was a survey 15, 20 years ago that said that Superman's shield is the most recognizable symbol in the entire world after maybe Batman. I think it's toxic waste or radiation or something like that. So, no. Batman's got 18 different symbols. Look, he's wearing a fat bat right now, and you've got the yellow background. Nobody knows what that is. That could be a mouth, for all I know. But Superman's symbol has been relatively unchanged.
Yeah.
As far as, media impact, Christopher Reeve was an amazing Superman. Embodied Superman in every way, shape, and form. Good-looking guy. He worked out with David Prowse, who was Darth Vader, to bulk up. And when he broke his neck in a horse riding accident, it broke my heart. And I was emotional the day he passed away. That was one of the toughest celebrity deaths I've ever had to experience. I thought that Smallville was one of the most fun shows that I've seen in forever and completely launched the superhero TV that we know right now, including, I would argue, Disney, like the superhero TV that we've seen on the Disney Channel or Disney Plus, and like Henry Cavill reinvigorated Superman and brought back that coolness factor, because you think about how you felt at the end of Black Adam, for those who saw it, when he said, "Nobody can stop me," then Superman steps into the scene.
That was cool.
That was impactful.
Even the scene in Man of Steel where they did that shot where it almost looked like
Henry Cavill. Changed Henry Cavill's face into Christopher Reeve's face.
That was cool.
Was amazing. And then you go Obi-Wan, and from the moment he did the "these are not the droids you're looking for," and he saved Luke from the Sand people with his Great Dragon scream.
Yeah, before he sacrificed his
And
life.
so, yeah, and then like when you see the recast or reshot version of Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan in episode 4, where they extended that, which isn't canon, unfortunately, but
Amazing
that fight
video.
was legit. If you ever get a chance to watch that, I would watch it.
I'm actually going to link that video in the description of this.
So
you have to watch it.
It really shows how awesome Obi-Wan is and what kind of impact he had, like in the Star Wars universe, from like stepping in to help Anakin when he bit off more than he could chew with Dooku, and I mean Anakin helped him later whenever he was getting mashed, but like Obi-Wan stopping Darth Maul, who was one of the most powerful Sith lightsaber duelists ever, and
even the Rebels version of that. I actually thought that
yes,
was really cool.
Yes, the Rebels fight between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan is one of the coolest fights, based on the impact that it had, and what you do know, and just very, very, very subtle like foot movements and everything, where Obi-Wan changed his foot movement to mimic Qui-Gon, so he could try to bait Darth Maul into doing the exact same thing he did to Qui-Gon to kill him, and then Obi-Wan shifted and knew that it was coming, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't lose in this fight. I'll be honest, because
right.
I love both of these characters. Obviously, I'm leaning towards Superman. If you aren't going to budge on it, I can concede Obi-Wan.
That was impressive. I didn't think you would concede at all. I thought you would be set in your ways of Superman. That being said, it's kind of funny. So, as I mentioned earlier, growing up with Obi-Wan, Superman being the opposite, where I didn't grow up with him, but I have been like molded recently into really liking Superman. I could give Superman the win here. I could. I don't want to, just because I like Obi-Wan a lot. But being that he made it to literally the finale, I can appreciate. So, all right, go ahead, write his name in there.
Superman?
Go for it.
Yes.
Yikes! I immediately regret my decision. Milk was a bad choice. No, I agree. I think that's a good one. I mean, he is probably one of the most iconic characters known to this earth. I'm pretty sure if you showed a picture of Superman's symbol to anyone on this planet, they probably know who that is. If you showed a picture of Obi-Wan, some people might not know who that is.
Some people think he's Jesus.
True. Was that episode 2? Oh, that was good. Right. All right, so we have our winner. Our winner is Superman, Henry Cavill version, personally. So Superman wins for us. That is awesome. So that was indeed fun. On some of them, most of them. It was fun. All right, it was fun.
Some of those hurt. That Green Lantern one, I'm still not sure I'm over that.
We struggled through a few of them, that's for sure. I don't know. But anyways, that will wrap this up. So let us know who you guys think should have won. And let us know in the comments below. And try and keep it civil, because I know things got pretty rowdy right here, So just try and keep it civil.
We're going to go to blows later.
So thank you all for stopping by and geeking out with us. And we will catch you next time on episode 2, in which this will be about the few surprisingly impactful characters that we thought had caught our attention in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That will be in episode 2 of Geeks Drop the Gauntlet. Thank you again, and stay geeky.